Hi, and welcome to the Thought Leader Recruiter Podcast, episode 2, where we explore how industry leaders are tackling today's biggest talent challenges. I'm your host, Sam Bylett, and today I'm excited to be joined by David Revell, owner of Charta Recruitment. David, welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Great, thanks for having you here. So what initially drew you to the recruitment industry?
Story, like everybody else, fell into it. I'm yet to meet anybody who woke up and wanted to do it. But yeah, I had a friend who worked for Michael Page, she was an internal recruiter at Michael Page. And I was working in banking before that. And she said, I think you'd be great at it. And the banking industry was taking a downturn after the financial crisis, so you couldn't really earn any money in it anymore. So yeah, I just thought I'd give it a shot. So it sort of fit kind of my personality quite quickly. And yeah, I ended up working at Michael Page for a few years. But yeah, just fell into it really, and now stuck in it. So
Yeah, exactly. And how many years have you been in the
coming
industry?
up 10 years in 2 months, I think. So
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
while.
yeah. Yeah, it's flown by. Yeah, you go through like everything else in life. You go through like chapters of how you approach it, and it's evolved a lot in 10 years. It's changed a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
What's
you're
been the
always
big,
having to adapt all the time.
what's been the biggest kind of change you've seen?
The biggest change, personally, I think the biggest change I've seen is kind of what we just touched upon before we started here, which is trying to get attention. It gets so much harder to get attention, whether it's going after new clients or even more importantly, new candidates for roles. You know, when I first started, you could stick up an advert and you'd probably get 3 or 4 highly qualified. It's a shit advert too. You fill most of your roles that way. Now, just because of the amount of people are marketed to, people are marketed to 5, 6, 7 times more than they were 10 years ago. Just trying to get eyeballs on whatever it is you're doing is getting harder and harder. And from my personal opinion is that most recruiters have not been taught how to get attention in any sort of way, shape or form, and they're getting lost in the noise. Most of our clients get lost in the noise too, because they're still doing the old tired stuff from 20 years ago. So I think people call it the attention economy. I think that's probably the biggest change that's happened. Everything else is still the same with relationships. If anything, that's more important. But it's just, how do you get attention online for what you need? And it's evolving all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do a lot of as we talked about before, you do a lot of content, which I find really, really interesting, and it's something that I believe you need to do. But as we were talking about before, it is just so flooded, isn't it? And it's hard to kind of stand out. I think what you do, I think you do stand out for sure. But yeah, it's getting seemingly more and more difficult, and people are having to come up with all sorts of wonderful ideas to get them eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your tried and true ways of doing it where you can just pick up a phone. And I do believe that, a lot of people don't believe that cold calling exists anymore. I don't do a lot of it. I'm quite thankful that we've developed ways that we don't really need to do a lot of it, but I'm still a big fan of it. You've got the tried and true ways, but as you know, like the one-to-one method is great, but it's a lot slower. The one-to-many method is a lot quicker. In recruitment, at least when I was taught by Michael Page, is that you're only ever shown the one-to-one method. And that's, I think, probably 95% of recruiters operate on that one-to-one method of picking up a phone, calling a candidate or a client. And that's great, but I believe it limits you quite a lot. And if you want to go down the one-to-many route, it's a lot quicker, but it's a lot harder to get attention as well at the same time. With clients, definitely, but also with candidates too. I mean, if you put yourself in a candidate's shoes, you speak to almost any of them and they're bombarded by LinkedIn messages, emails. And if they're looking for a job and they're on job boards, they've got thousands of job adverts to look through. So why are they going to reply to you? Why are they going to click apply on your job advert? You can't just be putting up you can't just do any old generic stuff these days. You've got to understand, biopsychology and what gets people's attention and what sort of hooks their mind into wanting to have a conversation with you and open that door. So I think that's probably the thing that we're taught the least, which we need to be being taught the most moving forwards, because it's only going to increase, isn't it? This isn't going to dial back. It's just going to keep on increasing.
What about the candidates? What about their expectations? Is that evolved over recent years?
I think there's definitely a level of entitlement that's definitely increased. I think people are just a lot more aware of what they can get these days. When I speak to recruit salespeople are really aware what they should be earning now, because they're getting approached 5 or 6 times a week, and they know exactly if it's this role in this sector where it's at, and they see it all over LinkedIn, so they know what they can get. And yeah, I think the expectation is definitely higher. I think at least what I've experienced is that you need a lot more these days to get people to leave jobs than you did 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you could go with let's call it a sideways move for the same salary, and people were much more open to it. These days, I mean, we do polls on this pretty much monthly. We track, candidates, what they need. The last poll that we did, I think 83% of people out of, I think it was about 600 votes, said that they needed at least a 15% increase in basic salary to consider conversation. So I think, people know that they can just hold out for a role that's going to pay them more. And with all the uncertainty in the world and everything else, I think people aren't going to move unless there's a big carrot. And that big carrot isn't always money. It's often, other things, autonomy, progression, maybe a cool product. There's lots of different benefits you can do, but very rarely are they going to go for the same money these days, in our experience anyway.
Yeah, it's also having that kind of flexibility in the job now, isn't it? The work from home hybrid model comes into play.
Yeah, we don't get to, because we do salespeople, most of them out on the road anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're doing an office-based role, it definitely holds you back. That being said, I've seen a lot of people also want to work in the office too. So some people are cognizant of the fact that they're not very good being on their own, being isolated. And I think you can still get those people. But yeah, the hybrid piece of it and all the remote piece is super beneficial. That's probably the one thing that even if you offer somebody the same salary, if it was a fully remote role, they'd probably jump or even taken a bit of a step down, because it's such a big change in lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah. And I suppose the kind of new generation coming into play probably would choose more a hybrid work from home role than they would an office role, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, personally, if it was me, I wouldn't do it.
No.
If I was starting over from scratch, I'm not sure about you, but
No.
I wouldn't want
I
that.
think you learn a lot from being around other people as well, don't you? People that are more experienced than you, higher skill set than you. That's how you learn. That being stuck at home on your own, it's not really a place where you can develop yourself.
I don't see the argument for it, to be honest. Like, I see people talking about it, it doesn't affect it that much, but I'm just like, how does that, it doesn't reconcile. There's so many micro conversations and micro nudges you get, and hearing what people do and little things in an environment that you just cannot get from home. It doesn't matter how much video training there is or whatever. You need somebody, especially when you're brand new, guiding you. Like, I can't imagine starting as a recruiter now and being remote or hybrid. You'd be set up to fail. I just can't imagine it. So, I do find it, I think it's a bit of naivety, isn't it? That people think they want this thing and then they don't realize how it's maybe affecting them.
Yeah.
When they're straight out of uni or whatever.
Yeah, sure. And what sets Charta's recruitment approach apart from other agencies, would you say?
I think it kind of goes back to what we said earlier, that, well, first of all, we hyper niche down. I think that's super critical. We're in a niche in terms of the discipline in sales, and a niche within terms of the industry that we operate in. So automatically we have for clients, on the client side, we've got a great proposition just on that alone, because we know the network more than anybody else in the country. So I think that's one thing for our clients. The second thing goes back to what we said earlier. We're very good at knowing how to get people's attention and get people's buy-in. I think I sent you over one of our candidate videos. They have been instrumental for us, our video job adverts, at getting people's attention. All right, they're a bit clickbaity thumbnails, but you get that compared to a normal LinkedIn message in your LinkedIn inbox. Which one's going to get your attention more? And then it's about telling a story after that, how people's life will change, the benefits that they'll get, just as many benefits as possible. So from a candidate attraction method, I think that I'm very confident that we'd be one of the best out there in terms of getting candidates attracted to roles, because we really know how to sell to people in the one-to-many approach as well as the one-to-one approach. But yeah, I think we're quite good at standing out from the sea of other recruiters approaching people and then selling them a story that they actually want to apply to. That took years to do that. Just to get them any good took me about 5 years, and it took leaving the recruitment industry and doing marketing for years to understand that storytelling is a big part of what we do. Everybody wants their life to change. That's why they're having a conversation with you. They want to change from their current situation. So, okay, what is the change going to be for them? And I think a lot of recruiters And I was guilty of this too. They don't talk about the candidate benefits or why they should leave their current job. They just talk about, oh, this company was established in 1999. This company has been growing. This company. No one cares about the company. No one cares. No. They'll care later, but at the very beginning, like all of us, they care about themselves and what they want. So I think we're really good at doing that, and we're good at getting getting the data to show clients that, okay, this is how we do it, and showing them the process and them trusting us. Another thing that's instrumental for us is that we only work 2 jobs at a time, max between 2 of us, or 3 between 3 of us. So we only work on retained work. So we've got loads of time and effort. Remember when I was at Michael Page, you'd be lucky if you could put 3 hours into one job. We put about 50 hours into each job now. So it ends up in a practically 100% fill rate. So it's just been, that's better for clients, It guarantees that they're going to be able to get their job filled. And also 95% of them are filled within 30 days. I think the average in the UK is like 90 days. So speed is a big thing. And then also being able to really showcase the client better than probably anybody else can in order to get better people to apply ultimately.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've seen the video you sent me. I think it was for a national business development manager role.
Yeah.
It was very transparent about salary and the benefits, and it also included like a personal message from a hiring manager, didn't it?
Yeah.
Rightly. So what made you kind of decide to be so open about them details?
Well, they're all the marketing gold nuggets that you've got at your disposal. There's, people are interested in many things, aren't they? Some people are salary driven. In my experience, even in sales, most people actually aren't salary driven as much as you'd think. People want to grow, people want to develop, people want a change, like I said earlier, in their circumstances. And it's lots of things that could be growth and change. Sometimes for some people, it's their manager. Maybe their manager now is someone who's a micromanager. Well, if we've got a little piece there that tells somebody that they're, from the horse's mouth, that this is how I run things, that could be the linchpin that makes them want to have that conversation or not. Same with the company. The thing that I probably clash with other recruiters on the most is them not divulging the company name. I think you're absolutely effing mad.
Yeah.
Because that is the biggest thing that you have at your disposal to get somebody interested. And if they're not interested, you'd rather they know now rather than 3 months down the line. So let's just save everybody time. I think just transparency is the best policy. It gets the most traction with people. People trust you more. Which is a recruiter, you need that with your candidates. If you're hiding things from them, they'll hide things from you.
Yeah, sure.
They won't tell you that they're interviewing elsewhere. They won't tell you this, that, and the other. If you give them so much value, they are much more bought into you and they'll trust you and they'll tell you things and they'll be on your side. And you'll need that at some point when you're trying to convince them to take this job versus maybe 3 other jobs. They'll listen to you much more if you've given them a lot more at the beginning. You don't even have to do that much. I think most recruiters they guard it like state secrets, guard the client like KGB. But what are you doing? Like, you lack trust, lack marketing. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I understand why recruiters do it because they're all working contingently and they're worried people will go around the process. But we've been doing it this way for 5 years, and we've had one candidate go around the process once, and he didn't get the job because it made him look like an idiot. So you'll lose 100 times more candidates by not being transparent than the ones who will actually circumvent your process, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. You used some interesting analogies in the video. I think it was like comparing the company to Brighton FC, was it? Something like that. Yeah. That really stood out for me. How do you develop these storyline elements?
Well, this could be useful for you, Sam, because I think one of the people that you should probably speak to is Mitch Sullivan. I'm not sure if you've heard of Mitch. Do you know Mitch?
No, I don't think so. No.
Mitch's work is the foundation for any type of marketing that we do for candidate attraction. Mitch is basically the godfather of recruitment marketing, you could probably say, in terms of creating job adverts and in terms of taking a brief from a client that pulls the most benefits out of that conversation that you have. He's done a lot of great work. He's very vocal on LinkedIn. He's got a big following. Suggest you check him out and have a chat with him. He'd be very open to it. So the basis of if we're creating a video job advert, that video job advert we sent to you is it's the same advert that we post on our job boards. This pretty much word for word the same. So the way he puts the adverts together are really engaging and are full of benefits and give people reasons to quit their jobs and, you know, have this conversation with you. So that's the basis of all of it. And then there was another book that I read. I'll see if it's here somewhere. I recommend reading this one. It's called This Book Will Teach You How to Write Better. Tiny book, really tiny. It's really simple. It's like just a few lines per page. And the overarching message of that is just actually how important the words are that you use. Like the words that you use on paper or face to face, they matter a lot. So it's knowing how to use the right ones that get people interested in what you're saying. So that, together with Mitch's course, was really the basic foundation of everything. But I'd been doing the video adverts for a long time, because the cool thing with LinkedIn, I can't remember if I sent it through to you on LinkedIn. I didn't send it through to you on LinkedIn. But the cool thing with LinkedIn is if you send someone a Loom video, it will automatically generate a thumbnail, the thumbnail that you would have seen.
Yeah.
Parts there. Right? So if you send, most of the time we're sending messages on LinkedIn, right, as recruiters, LinkedIn or email, choose your poison. But if it's LinkedIn and you send that video as part of your initial message, it will create this thumbnail. And no one else is doing that. I mean, the one we saw was like had a Tesla on the front of it.
Yeah.
Big arrows, like it's clickbaity as hell. It's very YouTube-esque. But we've been using that for years because it's a great way to stand out from a candidate perspective. So then it's just a case of getting those thumbnails, getting that foundation, and then just putting that into a video format. So we've got very simple, you know, got a decent camera, a video editor who is very cost effective. It costs us probably about 50 quid a video. So, and they're not too long. They're 3 or 4 minutes long. I should have probably got the data for you, but a lot of people see them and they go, oh, you know, my network, my industry wouldn't like that. That's what I always hear from people. My industry, video is the highest converting across all sectors. Like all the data shows that. And from the data we've had from those videos, I mean, that one that you saw there, we sent that to about 200 people and it had a 92, I think 90 or 92% full watch rate. So that means 170 people watched it till the very end of that video. That's more than any advert you're going to post online is going to get.
Yeah.
So, and then we cut it into shorts, like I'm sure you're probably going to do with your podcast, right? You cut it into little 30-second shorts. And then, so if you're running a role, we'll just post the shorts throughout the week, sending them to that longer video. So it's awesome for clients because clients are like, geez, these guys are doing something different. And it's great for candidates because it really helps you stand out on that one-to-many approach and just another avenue of getting more attention. So yeah, I think we'll just keep on improving them as time goes on, get better at telling the stories. But yeah, the foundation is really Mitch's work. And that comes first of all with having a good job brief with the client. We spend I had one yesterday. I spent 2 hours with a client yesterday. You got just finding out as much as you possibly can, as many benefits as humanly possible, and and then putting every single one of those, just one after the other, in that advert.
And how long does it take you to put one of the videos together, or does it all depend, I suppose?
Well, we got much quicker at it. The bit that takes the most time is actually writing the job advert. It's the script. So the job advert itself, you know, I did one yesterday and it took me probably 3 hours to do it. Even with the help of AI, you still need to be able to, it's like a map of how an advert should look, and AI isn't particularly good at always doing that. So about 3 hours to write it. But once it's written, to record it, it takes 10 minutes. Because all you do is just read it through 2 times. And then you can basically, your brain's really good at remembering what you've just said, and then you can record it pretty fast. And then our editor does it in 24 hours and it's ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Really good. Yeah. I'm going to go watch some more of them actually after this.
Yeah, I can send you some, we'll be quite interested. I'll send you one of our first ones and then you can see how they've changed.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't want to do them because they see it's a huge investment of their time, and it is at the beginning. But I can really promise to anybody who's considering it, the amount of candidates that we get who are interested in our roles because of those videos is unbelievable. We've made placements. Like we had one placement a few months ago for a company that was really struggling to find a sales director, and they had this one lady they really wanted to get, who was like the best one in the industry. They just couldn't. They really wanted her. She was very difficult to get in contact with. So we created that video, sent it to her. She interviewed. They got her, and she turned around to us and said, "I would never have replied to anything that you said, but that video caught my attention enough to at least open it, and then the story was good enough to want to, reply to you." And that was worth a K to us. So it is an investment of time, but it can be literally the difference from making the placement or not.
Yeah, I think being creative now, even if it's just messaging people, voice notes, video, you've got to get creative now. People don't just reply to, hey, how you doing anymore. it's just, but people still send them generic messages. They still do it. It's
I think
crazy.
they're probably more than ever.
Yeah, especially
Because
with AI. It's all copy. Yeah.
This is it. People will just outsource that to AI, but you first need to know what good messaging looks like before you outsource it to the AI. Now it's just a very professional generic message. So it's just as bad as it was before. But I think that's a great opportunity for people. Like I think I sort of approach it probably similar to you. That's an opportunity. Now, if you know everybody else's baseline is very generic, you've actually got a great opportunity to stand out. You just got to be a bit creative and also be a bit brave. Like video is at the beginning, it's quite daunting, but the more that you do it, you don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's the important thing. You don't care what people think. A lot of people will not do that. They will not go in front of a camera. Absolutely not. But yeah, they're missing out. That's for sure.
I think as time goes on, authenticity is going to be more and more important. And really the human piece of it that's going to make it authentic. And people have less and less trust over what the written word looks like on a screen. Because it's like,
Yeah, exactly. And now you can tell people are finding out what's AI written and what's not. It's an easy find nowadays.
Yeah, you can see straight away. Yeah. But the base of it comes with Mitch's course, like I say. He has a recruitment writing course. It's cheap. It's like less than 500 quid. And that really took it to the next level for us, because we were in a space where we were making video and it was getting people's attention, but then it wasn't converting as well as we would have liked. And it's because of the content within. Doing video is not enough. Like, it will get the attention piece, but then you need to have the substance within it that gets people excited and interested. And I think that's it's quite a difficult thing to do. It is quite difficult. And that's why clients suck at it so much, because they just talk about themselves. Yeah, I think, like I said, I keep shouting about it. His course is the best because it gets you to think about how to get people's attention and then keep it.
Yeah, for sure. And have you thought of any other kind of innovative kind of marketing approaches? Are you planning to do anything even more kind of different?
We've done a few different things. Like, we've done something that we want to do more of is actually like physical letters, posts. How often do you get a letter these days? It's like become the novel thing, hasn't it? So we've done a little bit of it, but it's quite time intensive. So we haven't done as much as we would have liked. But from a candidate perspective, the other thing that we've done that is linked to video is we try and make the most out of LinkedIn pay-per-click ads. I don't mean the video, don't mean the job advert slots, but the actual PPC ads. And I think that's a thing that very few recruiters even know exists. And it's so powerful because you just go into the back end of LinkedIn. Have you used it at all? Have you seen it for yourself?
No.
Have you ever used Facebook ads before?
Yeah, I've run Facebook ads before, not LinkedIn.
It's the same process.
Oh, okay.
It's apart from you can get people from their job title and their sector. Like, it's exactly the stuff that you want. And then you create a video and you just, you can stick, it doesn't have to be that expensive. You stick 50 quid into advertising, and then you're not just getting in front of all the active people applying, but you're getting in front of everybody in LinkedIn who fits your requirements. So I think it's one thing being, there's one thing, what's the vehicle of creating the thing, but then how do you actually get that to the audience is a different thing. And the paid ads, while expensive, is probably the quickest way you can get out to the audience. So using that, Also, to be honest with you, Sam, like getting in front of people more, like going to more networking events.
Yeah.
I completely lost that over the last 5 years. Like I just became so entrenched with the online one-to-many approach that I forgot that you just get in front of somebody and meet them at a show in your industry, and that's going to be the most effective way of building relationships by far.
Yeah.
So doing more face-to-face stuff, not so much face-to-face meetings, but like proper face-to-face in networking events.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Final question: how do you see the recruitment landscape evolving, specifically in your kind of specialist areas?
I'll talk about it probably a bit more broadly. I mean, our area, like I said, we're very lucky because we're the only ones in it. So I don't think everybody's got that luxury. But I think broadly, touching on what we spoke about earlier, I think AI is going to shake everything. It's going to completely change everything, from how we run the jobs to how we do BD to how we approach candidates. It's going to change it all. And if you're not learning how to use it in almost every single facet, I'm not talking about relying on it, not using it as a crutch, but using it in the smart way that is going to save you a lot of time and become better at what you do. I think that's going to be the biggest piece of this. So we're doing a lot of AI transitioning work at the moment where we're trying to use it not in a way that's generic, like just using ChatGPT for posts, not that way, but actually using it to make your processes better.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that's a huge piece of it. And I think a lot of people are going to get left behind on that bit alone because it's such a big, daunting task. Shout out again to another guy, James Blackwell. I'm sure you know James or heard of James Blackwell.
Heard of him, yeah.
He's kind of the guy who's, when it comes to the automation and AI side of this, he's kind of I would say the front runner in our industry. Probably worth you speaking with him as well, because he's the one who's doing a lot of work on that frontier. And I think the other thing is that authenticity thing that we spoke about. That's authenticity, attention, learning how to get it, getting people, learning how to attract people. Those are the bits that I think are going to change the most. And people, you see it all the time. People are saying, "Oh, I struggle to do BD, struggling to get candidates interested." Like, "Oh, it's all the candidates' fault." No, it's because you write shit job adverts and your messaging shit, and you've got no one knows who you are or trusts you or anything like that. So I think a big piece of that's going to be authenticity. And unfortunately, I think that means getting your face out there more. So I think that would be a huge part. AI and authenticity, probably those are the two biggest bits, because I think you'll always have the evergreen stuff like relationship building will always be there, and building a great team and stuff like that. That's always going to be there. But it's these other factors that I think people are going to struggle with the most. We struggle with it. I put all my time into it. It's just such a minefield, to get through.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if people don't implement that, are definitely going to be left behind. And leave a lot of money on the table for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be changing a lot.
Thank you for sharing insights with us today. Really appreciate it. So yeah, before we wrap up, can you tell our listeners how to reach you and how to reach Charta Recruitment?
Yeah, so you can find me under David Revell on LinkedIn. Outside of Charta, I also run a CV writing business for salespeople. Launched that a year ago because that was one thing that candidates also suck at themselves. They don't know how to get attention and actually sell themselves as well. So I've been doing that for a year alongside Charta as well. So it's called CV Champion. You can find all my goofy videos on TikTok and Instagram and on LinkedIn as well, and on YouTube. So yeah, it's called CV Champion.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Thought Leader Recruitment Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share others in your network. And yeah, till next time.